My name is Grace, and I am the eldest of the living children of Canon Eric and Faith Bugari. Kenneth Barije was 2 years older than me, so we literally grew up together. He was warm, kind, and deeply intelligent. To me, the cleverest person I ever knew. He was my mentor, my hero, and I believed in him. I will always remember the way he would sit with his guitar, his fingers moving with ease, his voice carrying the songs. He used to teach me the songs he cherished most. I would sing and he plays the guitar. Songs were mostly those of Simon and Garfunkel, The Boxer, Sound of Silence, etc. That music became part of the soundtrack of our lives together, and his love for that band and that gentle, thoughtful genius stayed with him all his life. I thought he was magical because he could sing and play at the same time, something that filled me with wonder. His wisdom shaped the course of my life. When I was preparing to go to secondary school, I was set on joining King's College Budo. But a new school, Trinity College Nabingu, was beginning. Kenneth knew about it, and with his quiet conviction, persuaded me to go there instead. He told me about the nuns, the holiness, that it was only for girls, and the nuns were coming from Ireland, and that was all true. He even explained it all carefully to my father, who also supported him. I was later accepted both at Budo and Nabingo, but it was Kenneth's guidance that led me to Nabingo. That choice shaped my journey, gifting me with friendships and bonds that have lasted a lifetime. Now here I want to tell you a short story. When we were growing up, we used to sit around the table before dinner, waiting for dinner to be ready. And during this time, my father would tell us stories, Bible stories, about how the creation of the world, how Jesus was crucified and died for us, and all the wonders of the stories of the Bibles. Everything I know in the Bible, I learned from my father. And then sometimes my mother would anaomukyala akabatuganira omugane gumugu ogwi atuganire kwagulye omushaija akashwera omukazi bazaara omwana yaba omwishiki murungi, omwana bamweta Nyamahungi. Hati abokwa akari murungi munonga, abantu bingi bakabiija kumushwera, konka ishe yagira ati ori kuza kushwera Nyamahungi neija kubanza yeyiha akafunjo omu nyanja yakareta. Okukura akafunjo omu nyanja was almost impossible. First of all, akafunjo kumera omu nyanja, and secondly, okukihayo. So now, when I grew up, I got married, and I was expecting my first child, Nancha. Then he came and said, Grace, nuza kuzara omwana. Wanashiwa omwana nuja kumbasa. I was a very tiny girl in my 20s. I said, ninja kumbasa, kandi kabuna ajirenda ninja kumusara. Anyway, time came, nazara. Kuna azaire, yija kundeba omu irwaro yagira ati Grace wazara, ati mazima wazara. He was so surprised. Yanja ati mbwenu Grace, ati ogu omwana wawe ati ninkakafunjo k'omu nyanja, ati nijuka omugane gw'omukyara, ati nekyeshongore ninkijuka, ati kankimweshongorere, ati kandi omwana wawe ogu ati nyowe namweta akafunjo, ati konka kankweshongorere ekyeshongore ekyo kyakafunjo. I don't know how to sing very much, but let me try. oriha kafunjo komunyanja nuwarishwera nyamahunje komunjeyo kankeihe nkatwarire munywani wa tata nije nshwere nyamahunje komunjeyo orishwera nyamahunje arigamba ati nyowe nshwere omuchwezi komunjeyo kankeihe nkatwarire munywani wa tata nije nshwere nyamahunje komunjeyo kankeihe nkatwarire munywani wa tata nije nshwere nyamahunje komunjeyo. So twagumizamu omwana yakura yaguma namwita kafunjo tukaba twena tugaruka yaha lunch tukaba tutaha makerere arikukora omu Bank of Uganda. So he used to come for lunch every day. Every day he came, he used to sing this song to Nancha. Nancha started knowing him and opening her eyes very wide. She was like 3 to 6 months. So that is one of the memories that has always lingered in my mind. Kenneth's brilliance was always evident. He was one of the first students to be selected by Bishop Chivenjere to go and study in the United States, where he studied immigration law. When I visited the United States in the early 80s, he proudly took me to a store in his neighborhood owned by Louise from a TV show, The Jefferson. Some of you might remember that. I was thrilled to meet a TV character my children and I watched, and Kenneth's joy in seeing my delight was so evident. He also took me to a big parking place in front of a very tall building where Mary Covington, his girlfriend, had parked his car with the registration number Barige. That was in Los Angeles, California, with his name on a car as a registration number. With a smile and the easy humor that was so uniquely his, he turned to me and said, "My name is everywhere." That simple moment, filled with laughter, showed the light-hearted spirit that carried him through life. Later came what I call the lost years, when we were apart. Yet, when the time came, we found each other again, reunited at my children's house in Los Angeles, California. That reunion was overflowing with warmth and love. It felt as though no time had passed at all. When he saw Nancha, he said, Kafunj, okakura. These are a handful of the memories I hold close of my brother Kenneth. His music, his wisdom, his laughter, and above all, his love. He was my brother, my hero, and a guiding light in my life. His song still lingers in my heart, and it always will. My beloved brother, rest in peace until we meet again.
Greetings to fellow mourners. I'm Carol Maruru Bugari in Los Angeles, California. Late Kenneth Barige is my brother. If I start to talk all I know about him, we will be here the whole day. Barige lived in LA and we were neighbors. He was a kind and protective big brother. He would call each and everyone at the weekends to see how we have made it through the week. And he called it roll call. He used to say, if I say hello, you say present. Funny, right? Barige was God-fearing and he used to come to my house on Sundays to go to church together. Also, we used to sing praise and worship songs over the phone in memory of our parents. Barije stayed God-fearing till his last breath. I miss him a lot, and thank God, Barije is in a better place.
Ninye amazina ganje Reverend Onesimus Tayibwa Kahwayo kandi ninzarwa Rujumbura nkuko tukafuruka twaza Kashari mu myaka y'enyuma kandi nyina kutwara mu gishogu kubaramutya mu izina ya tateitwe neri y'umwana neri y'umuyo kwera kandi kinye simsa kushamanya mu family y'abanzira kandi abarwabwere ayitwa komokire kandi nyondi wa Mr. Nalet Christopher na Apofia Kahwayo kandi abanzeire kandi bakanshomesa kandi tinguza kuraba hari munonga ukikuru munonga turiyaha aha mukoro ubwo kubasa kushendekereza mu mwana wetu Barije Kenneth Bugari kandi ubunagiriye America 2008 2008 nkamushangayo nkajana nyine cyetengo cyangwa wo kubayeka ya Bugari Erka ababurire ngiro muri Rujumbura neka yitwa betwe Simsa munonga kunashira nabashanga barkunu kandi nabaronda ni Jore Bugari Kabo Maruru Bugari na Kenneth Bugari Barije so kajiro mugisha na kwatagana na Jore yangambira ngo Kenneth Barije Bugari are downtown of Los Angeles in California na mtereresumu ya jikwata ija yanta ile miruni nkena konko murundo go kubanza kashemerwa munonga kumugana ija yandara twararantuganira nashemererwa abo kuba ekinabere nimfa tatakakira kutugambira ngo ekayitu ninge kayeka bakahwayo okushoma kwe no kutaho buriyo no kutekateka yona nabwa Erka Bugari Bwenu omwanya muke yatandika kurwara yantererese umakari yo mu city ya Santa Barbara atubashemeze kandi akaye n'ububere bwa prostate atunani kushabojo nyakiri so kunagire kunamwakira na terra Jole that time Carol akachi Washington I think then deja namwakira na mtwaro muka so yaguma na teresa mukokanya munashasha Kenneth then akanye mwana wakweta Taz ya teresa mu yangira ati Kenneth arweire kandi bamutwira mu ibaro uje twarebe bintu bye ebinyireyo ndukwereze ndeno behereze munyanya Jole so nazayo nayihaye namureba namushanga mu irwaro nashanga atari kumunonga konka namugumya twashaba hamwe namugamba nakuya ibintu bye konko uwo akagize dementia atacyetegereza je then kunagambire Jole cyamukwataho munonga yeja kandi timuzagambe mirunde yezere konka keje mirunde mingi munonga kumureba so twaguma ntuzayo tumureba tugamba nawe tugamba nabashaho then yagira tubantumwe ate nanzigeze biro bice Jole munyanyazi Bugari akore cyona ekirukubasika so kandi Jole nyenda kumusima akakikora kwitya ahitu ikerezine ngumezeyo nkore decisions nembazi no kumurebera kandi cyo kakikora abo kuba Jole kana tura San Francisco nyondo Los Angeles ndihe nawe so kanzayo mureba mwe nitagire kuturaho hatkuyasasire kimwe yagira dementia konka twagumana bontu mureba ntugamba nawe ni mushabera nambuza abiyaba nabasa kwishukaho so kwitya ahi obunaku bushikire aka bakubi bakamutwara omu irwariro erindi ti irwariro pase konka ni facilities eza assisted living nizo zikureberera abakuba barwaire munonga. So kuba mutwireyo hawaho nka 2 weeks yaba kubi munonga nagambira Jole kandi abo bamuterera esimu nazayo na Zora na Kitonto twamureba konka twashanga yahoire amaani yashasha munonga. So twashaba nawe namushabira eshara y'okumuhwera n'okukora decision kwikiriza Yesu nk'omujungu ekikuteekateeka ngu kikabaho. So hati kuyafiire so nikwo kuteekateeka nyowe na Jole ngu time ejeshikye remains tuzireete rujumbura rukungiri kworeka ekaiti ya Bugari na Rwabwere buri muntu wena oziigwe omukeejo aine value kandi twine kumuheereza send off y'ekitiinisa kandi tumanye ngu n'omuntu wa Mukama twena turi abantu ba Ruhanga. Namwe nyenda kubasiima kutwara omu gishogu kubasiima mwena abampurikiize kandi n'abahuriire ngu hariho okwija kucelebrating life ya Kenneth Barije Bugari omuka ya Bugari Eric nakubasiima kandi n'okusiima Carol na Jole omurimo muhango gubakoze tukakwatanisa nka family kandi okubasa kukora eki kandi kikabaho kandi imwe abayeteekateeka mukaija kucelebrating life age nakubasiima tene ebigarukiro kandi n'okwongera kusiima abandi n'aba Bugari n'ababikahwayo n'abakatunguka n'abandi mwena abanzira mwena n'abanyabuzare n'abanyamukago ababasa kwija mukakora ekyo tenabasa kwija abo kubensare kandi mbengine commitments ab'ekanisa so konkande naimwe kama bahereza omugisha abarinde abakiza omushana gw'amisho ekinkwendera nakyo nina ko bahereza ekitweka kiri muri Yohana 14 n'omushomo gw'okubanza hagira ngu emitima yanyu etarishoberwa mwikirize Ruhanga kandi nange mwikirize Yesu ngu omuje atatarumu emyanya mingi y'okutuuramu ngu obunaku burihika mbyeija mbakire mbatware yindi eyikuteekateeka ngu mugyezi waitu Barije Kenneth niyagiire Mukama abasiime abahereza omugisha mwebale.
Hi, my name is Nansha, and Kenneth Barije was my uncle. He's a brother to my mother. So I grew up not knowing my uncle for a long time. So when I did relocate to the United States, one of my goals was to look for my long-lost uncles. And so I was going to look for Uncle Henry and I was going to look for Uncle Barije. I had met Uncle Henry in my younger days, so I did know who he was, but I had never met Uncle Barije because he left, like, I think right after I was born. So anyway, I get to LA and I try to find him. I did get his number, and surprisingly, he had two numbers. I was assuming one's a landline and one is a cell phone number. So I called a couple of times. I left messages, explained who I was, in the hope that he would call me. After about a week, he did call, and I told him that this is Nansha, and he's like, Nansha, and he actually kept saying, Kafunjo, Kafunjo, it's you. And I was like, why does he call me Kafunjo? It was kind of weird, but anyway, we planned to meet, and I gave him directions to where I was staying, and believe it or not, he showed up. He was different. He had lost a lot of weight. He didn't look quite like what I had seen, what he looked like in the pictures I had seen him. But anyway, we were very, very excited to see each other, very excited to meet each other. And he kept telling me all these stories about my mom and my grandparents. And, you know, it was quite a meeting, I'll say. But from that day going forward, we met almost every weekend. He came home every weekend. I cooked, encouraged him to eat. he was very impressed that, you know, I could cook matoke and chinyewa. He liked that very much. And so our bond grew on from there, and from then forward, you know, we were doing everything, especially when we had family events. He would call me and say, you know, can you get me a ticket? And he would offer to buy my ticket as well. Would fly to San Francisco, would fly to Las Vegas. So we had a lot of interaction, as brief as it was. One of the things that I kept asking him, because he always called me Kafunjo, I kept asking, why do you call me Kafunjo? And he said to me one day that I call you Kafunjo because it means that you're special. You're very, very special. And I was so touched. I was like, wow, you think so? And he said, yeah, you're very special. You look at all that you've done for me. You're like, you know, very special to me. You help me whenever I call you. You show up. And he gave me a hug and he said, you're special. And that was very touching to me. Uncle Barije was a very kind person. He would give you the shirt on his back at any time, whether he had whatever he had. I mean, it might be little, small, he would offer it. And while we were at the store, you know, I was just trying to get a simple bed. I wasn't trying to get anything. You know, I wasn't trying to break the bank. And he said to me, pick whatever you want. I said, nah, I'm not going to pick anything I want and what. So I picked one and he said, no, that's not good enough for you. So he went up to one of the beds. It was a whole bed set, like a queen size bed with, you know, the dresser, the drawers and everything. And he's like, why don't you take this one? I'm like, man, that's too much. And he insisted. He says, no. And he just said to the guy, here, take my card. And he bought the bed. I was taken aback. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, he bought a bed. I was so touched. All in all, the little time we had together was special. I did move out of LA, but every time I went out there, I'd get in touch with him. He would come meet me, would have lunch, would have dinner. The last time I did go out there, he was already in a hospice. I did try to go and see him, but I didn't make it. I remember Auntie Jolly telling me he might not even remember who you are. That was heartbreaking, but I insisted that I needed to see him regardless, but I never did get to see him that last time, which was about 2 years ago. He was a very entertaining fellow, very proud. I remember one time we were driving, I think we were going to San Jose. I don't quite remember, but we flew together into San Francisco airport. We were meeting Auntie Monica and Auntie Tessie. I rented a car, then we were going to drive up to San Jose. So we started driving out of San Francisco to get to San Jose, and I just could not get out of San Francisco on the 101. I was like, oh my goodness, I kept missing the turn or something. Well, anyway, I kept getting lost. So Auntie Monica suggested, why don't we stop at a gas station or stop somewhere and ask for directions? Oh, and he was like mad. He was like, no, how can we do that? What are they going to think of us? We'll find it. No, we'll keep going. We're going to keep going. We're not going to ask for directions. And lo and behold, we did not ask for directions. I think I went around like 5 times or 6 times. I don't know. But eventually we did get out. And he said to me, you see, Kafunjo, I told you you'd make it, Kafunjo. I told you you'd make it. But anyway, we did make it to the graduation. So that was the kind of person he was. He was very strong-handed, but at the same time, he was hilarious. He was fun to be around. I mean, every time he was around, we were laughing. And I will just miss, you know, the times we spent together and talked about all kinds of things. And it's sad. It's sad. It's really sad that we've lost him, but may his soul rest in peace. He was a good guy. He was a kind guy. And for all of those who knew him, I'm sure you know what I mean. Uncle Kenneth, rest in peace. We love you. And like you always said to me, you were really special, and big hugs. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Family y'umugenzi Erika na Faith Bugari hamwe n'abaziki mwena abari aha nyenda kubasityaho okushasha kwanjye kandi no kwa Canon Susan abo butabasa kushindikereza mukuru wanjye kandi umunywani wanjye Kenneth Barije Bugari cyabe cyo busasi nkanye tekatekere kuba ndiho konka ahabwe ibindi ebiruko ngemesereza kuba tutariho twaremo bitu ningijuka Kenneth kurungi munonga akaba nankize imyaka konka nkani nimanya je akiryaha mu Uganda nangwa nubunaza Amerika kinana na munana nkagamba nawe ahasimu akabari umutsigazi w'obwenge murungi, very smart, very handsome, very enterprising, arukutera guitar, arukweshongora, tukaba tumwadmiring so much, looking up to him, idolizing, nka role model, tuyenda nitwe kuturukura tube nkawe, ari smart mu uniform ya Nyakasura school. So konka ahwembera mbi ya Uganda yagenda yaza Amerika yaturayo tutoragarikire kurebana mu myaka yitu twakuzire kuganira nabo kumumanya konka gwa families zeitu ya tata Reverend Canon Samuel Katugugu ne ya mwami Canon Erika Bugari tukaba turi very close na bana family zombi so nkagumaha nabandi bona ba Royce ba Arthur ba Jore ba Carol na Gracie na n'umugenzi Yusia nangwa na Olive nawe watwayaga nkaturayo arubona ahunga umustrike kabari nija Kampala nahungirayo kandi yo wa Olive so nabantu no family yetu etushikire munonga so ntushaba ngo amagara gumugenzi Kenneth Ruhanga agahereza icyumuro kirungi turyamushangayo mwe bari munonga.